Next day, I wake up feeling a little lightheaded. It's almost noon already. Sleeping late is fine, since it's Saturday and there are no classes. Not just a Saturday, though, but the festival as well. From my window, I can already see some people at the soba booth slinging noodles into plates for people who have a craving for low-quality food. Janice, soba? I throw back a handful of my morning meds and ponder how to spend the day. There are a few exams in the coming week, but I don't consider those as ominous as others, so I'm not as worried about them as I should be. With no urgent obligations regarding education, I should be free to spend a day at the festivals I like. Finish my morning routine, I exit into the hallway intending to go out and find something to eat. Passing by his door, I decide to see what Kenji's, I'm very hungry. Your class project seemed pretty cool. I gave a hand with it, so I want to see at least one and chat with Lily, I guess. Speaking of that, don't you have any obligations with the project? Are you out of your mind? The blind broad is up to no good. As expected of blind people. I thought you were... He holds up a hand to interrupt me. Only legally. Metaphorically, I can see farther than any man before me has seen. Kenji looks stoically into metaphorical distance to emphasize his statement. I can see the future of mankind. They are everywhere. Women. He fingers his scarf. Just like he'll never finger a woman. I'm going to have to find some place to hide. A safe haven. Knock the lights out on myself so I don't have to experience this horrible day. I have the perfect thing for that. I must prepare for now. For alligators, the reason I don't like Kenji is the same reason you like Kenji, is that you have terrible taste in boys. You just like them freaks. You like them weirdos. Okay. Later, dude. The door closes slowly with a low creak, and I don't know how to feel about what Kenji just said. After buying a plastic plate of takoyaki... Janice isn't listening. Yeah, there you go. From a stall belonging to the class next to ours, I take a seat in the school gardens and watch people pass as I tentatively nibble away at the rather bland-tasting item. I guess I shouldn't complain, it's better than nothing and it didn't cost much. As I look out towards the school, watching the people coming and going proves a surprisingly entertaining way of passing the time as I eat. Little children accompanied by parents or grandparents scamper about in the din from event to event, one hand dragging their company and the other bearing an oversized, colorful snack. I can't help but notice the age range among the people here is skewed towards the elderly, something I also noticed when I was walking around town. This must be one of those towns where the only people left are those that lived here their whole lives and ardently refused to leave, and those wanting to leave out the rest of their days in one of the increasingly few tranquil places. I guess that also goes away to explain how conservative Yamaku's school culture seems to be. Not that I mind one bit, I kind of like how calm Yamaku and its surroundings are. The heat, though, is another matter entirely. Sitting in one place, Radiohead, for so long has focused my mind on how annoyingly humid it's getting now that the hottest part of the day is here. Better get... The sound of the Carillon bells takes me completely by surprise as I stand up, a reaction shared by a few of the people strolling around as well. The PA system crackles to life after the tolling bells ends. Its age shows as the principal makes a barely intelligible announcement over it, officially opening the festival that's very much in full swing. It's quite amusing to contrast the pleasant smiles of the other folk against the alternatively painted and bored grimaces of their younger charges. The students, on the other hand, seem to pay it little heed. Nevertheless, as the address finally ends, all are united in polite, if not overly enthusiastic applause, and they get back to business. Slipping a hand in my pocket to look as relaxed as possible, I casually glance around for something to do. Or someone to do. It's somewhat difficult to see very far with all the people around. I decide to fall back on a tired and trusted rule, go where everyone else seems to be gathering. Right now, that's the school's courtyard and surroundings. Throwing the used plate into a trash can, I make my way towards the school building. Seeing the number of stalls around the perimeter of the school building surprises me. Quite a few of the classes must have opted to have multiple stalls. In deciding which to visit, I catch sight of a familiar banner with a blue patterned border and a red text. Lily's stall's a place to start as any. I'm curious as to how it's going after all the work she and her class have been doing over it. Stepping up to it, I begin to see why the class took so long to organize everything. Even easily twice as wide as many of the other stalls, and as with equipment for cooking strewn everywhere, it's closer to an outdoor restaurant than a festival event. As a student in front of me takes a bowl of noodles and leaves, I walk up to the counter. The girl behind it seems quite exacerbated. She asks me to wait a moment before she disappears underneath the counter. Seizing the moment, I take a quick glance around. Steam seems to be rising from everywhere as pots and pans simmer away. The most blind of the students are unpacking ingredients while being helped by someone who is probably the teacher of 3-2. It doesn't take long to notice Lily among them, talking with the teacher as she quickly counts out the boxes and packets with her fingers. From her expression and the fact that both she and the teacher seem to be in a state of mild confusion, it appears there's been some problem in coordination. Before I can stare any longer, the girl behind the counter pops up again, only to look back and ask where the spare change box is. Lily pauses for a moment before she and the girl switch places at the counter, and the teacher quickly walks off somewhere. Sorry about that, we were having some problems. What would you like? Takes me a second to remember what I come here for. My eyes quickly dart to the side to read the menu sitting at the counter. Some miso soup? Ah, is that Hisao? Yep, looks like you're pretty busy. Her face all but confirms it as she drops her waitress facade. Somewhere along the lines our orders got mixed up. We're trying to fix it now, but it looks like we only have half of what we needed. Wouldn't serving smaller portions cover over the problem? Seems like that's what we'll have to do, though I wish we didn't. The fact that a good half of our class is gone doesn't help either. I glance behind her to see how many people are actually operating the stall. It couldn't be over 8. I take it that's why your teacher left? That's right, she's gonna try and round up a few more of our classmates to help. Hearing the sound of footsteps behind me, I stealthily glance backwards to see an elderly couple taking a place in line. I guess I better stop loitering around and chatting. Here's money for the soup. Soup, right, coming up. Lily turns and calls for a bowl of miso soup as I hand over the money for it. Taking the coins in her palm, I can't help but notice how efficiently she counts them out with her long pale fingers. Eventually satisfied I've handed over correct change, she puts it into a small metal tray. It isn't long before soup is made and carefully handed to her, after which she turns and subsequently passes it to me. Thanks. Now I'll come back to drop off the bowl. Thank you, Hisao. Oh, there's one other thing. Have you seen Hanako? Not today. Why? She gives a small sigh of abject disappointment. It's okay. I was just wondering what she was doing for the festival. You'll come back when you're done then? Sure. I'll keep an eye out for Hanako too. Thank you. I walk off from the stall and find a seat, carefully creating this steaming wooden bowl in both hands. Compared to the dumplings from before, this is quite nice. Dumplings? I thought we had takoyaki. And dumplings and miso soup? Damn, dude, we're having a whole feast. A cool compared to what it probably should be, perhaps, but the flavor is enough to cover for that reasonably well. As I drink, I can't help but feel somewhat guilty for not being involved in the festival as others. It can't really be helped considering I was dropped into school only a week ago, but it still weighs heavy on my mind. That and the fact that a few students don't really seem to be enjoying the festival as much as visitors. Eventually, I finish my bowl and leave for the stall to drop it off. Oh yeah, Emmy didn't let us eat. Now we can eat, right? Oh yeah, it's the best. I mean, like, Emmy's pretty good, but damn it, I want to eat some good food. It seems the teacher's mission paid off. There are now over a dozen students helping, and much of the unpacking has been done. Despite most of them seeming quite relaxed as they work, Lily still appears somewhat stressed. Lily doesn't look impressed at all. I can't really blame her. On top of her issues with her stall, she seems to be worried about Hanako. I can't really help her for the former, so I guess the only way I can help is by trying to take her mind off our shy mutual friend. Placing the bowl back on her counter, I call out to Lily. Hey Lily, don't worry about Hanako. I'll find her and hang out with her, okay? I can see Lily's relief painfully written over her face. Thanks, Hisao. If you see anyone from my class, can you tell them to come back here, please? Will do. Have a good one. Make sure you take a break, okay? Well, I will if I can. See you later, Hisao. I leave Lily in the stall and head out in search of Hanako. In a way, I feel bad for leaving her with the crowds, but even though she was clearly under pressure, I can't help but think that she is enjoying herself. The halls are packed with swaying crowds meandering through the festival. If there's one thing I know about Hanako, is that she's not going to be anywhere near this. And with the other students showing their friends and family around their dorms, I doubt she'll be there either. Following blind intuition, I move against the grain of the crowd. Thankfully, this crowd seems to be slightly less festive than our usual festival crowd. I assume this is out of consideration for the student body. As I force my way through the mess, it doesn't take long for them to thin down into nothingness. This is not surprising since I'm headed to the library. Even the most eager students don't bother to show anyone this section of the school. As I enter the library, the noise of the festival fades into a dull background noise, and soon I'm in the reading area at the rear of the room. Behind one of the partition desks, I see the top of a head with straight dark hair catching my eye. Hey Hanako, I had a feeling I'd find you around here. The head jumps a little in shock before slowly peeping over the partition. Hisao? Hey, Lily's pretty busy, so she sent me to find you. Oh, you want to sit down? Actually, I was feeling a little hungry. Would you like to get something to eat from... What the f... You're feeling hungry? You just had takoyaki and dumplings and miso, you're like... Yeah, I'm starving.
Well, to be fair, those are all appetizers.
Janice, this person is not us. You and I can eat like a bajillion things. But they are not us. But I agree. Let's go get some more food. Hanako brought some food. I shouldn't be surprised, but it was worth a try, expecting her to go outside today with a long shot. How about we eat in the tea room? I passed by on the way here and no one was around. We can make some food there and maybe make some love. It'll be a little more comfortable. What do you say? Sure, let's go. Hanako closes her book and puts it away with deliberate practice movements. Good to go? Yeah. We walk side by side from the library to the tea room. As expected, there's barely a soul around. If it weren't for the mummers through the walls, you wouldn't tell there was a huge festival going on outside. Hanako carries her bag in both hands and focuses on just the floor ahead of her. Every now and again, she seems to break her pace a little and steps in slightly shorter paces. First time it happened, I gave no mind, but I soon noticed she does it on a regular basis. Are you alright? She stops dead in her tracks. What? You look like you're tripping or something. A pink blush raises to her cheeks. How can you tell? It's nothing. You know, when you say nothing like that, people are inspired to ask further questions. For a second, I don't think she was going to answer. Prepared to leave it be, I almost set off walking again when it's a game. Game? See the floor here? What a bizarre question. The floor looked like any other floor, covered in those tiles made up of squares of linoleum. Nothing noteworthy. You hopscotching? What about it? Sometimes when there's no one around, I only step on the darker ones. Yeah, it's the best game! Hanako's voice trails off as her explanation continues until I can barely hear her voice over the roaring silence of the empty hall. Darker ones. Shuffling her feet, Hanako points the toe of her shoe at a tile that's barely a shade darker than the others. Like these. Oh, right. So those ones are good? Yeah, the floor is lava. Something like that. Oh, I see. Do you play this game a lot? You weirdo. Just when the halls are empty. She nods. Well then, no point in stopping. I'm beginning to get really hungry. She nods again, this time with a little more enthusiasm. Let's go. We set off down the hall. This time I notice that Hanako's paying a little less attention to the floor. I wonder, just how lonely does someone have to be to come up with a game like that? Rude. Before I realize what I'm doing, I find myself trying to aim each step so it lands on the correct tiles. The noise of the festival is slightly louder outside the tea room, but the breeze coming through the window makes it worth it. Without thinking, I walk to the windows and inhale deeply. I somehow forgot how clean the air is here compared to back home. Do you want some tea? That'd be great, thanks. It occurs to me that this is the first time I've been alone with Hanako without her trying to be somewhere else. Turning from the window, I watch as she makes a simple pot of tea and arranges some sandwiches on a plate. I've seen her do this before a number of times. This time she seems slightly different. It's like she's calm. Eventually she places a small tray on the table and pours 2 cups of tea. The fresh scent of brewed tea mingles with the breeze. For a second I feel like I'm the only one in the world. I think I know why you like this room now. I don't know what you mean. Well, there's quite a few people out there, but in here it's like another world. You can pretend there's no one around for miles. You're right. It's like the world has forgotten this room. Because of that, you can forget about the outside. That would be that would be appealing in some cases. As far as I can tell, conventional bullying doesn't exist in this school. But then again, I haven't seen a single person talk to Hanako besides Lily. If you're ignored by the world, a place where you can forget its existence would hold a special appeal. That's a good point. It's like this room gives you some sort of complete freedom. Yeah. Say, do you play chess? Fuck yeah, chess! Oh yeah, chess! A little. Without saying anything more, Hanako moves to one of the cupboards and digs out a small chess set. Do you wanna... Sure, why not? I cut her off, but she doesn't seem to mind it. We arrange the pieces, and before long we're sending pawns charging at their inevitable fates. I take my time and intently examine each move and its consequences, nostalgia for the game taking second place to the matters at hand. For a time, the game is a lengthy battle of attrition, but I spot an opening and tear a line in her defenses. A few moments later, her king is cornered by several of my pieces. Checkmate! You're not bad at this, are you? An honest appraisal. Her technique is pretty good, but several times I was able to exploit her lack of prediction. I pick up a piece and examine it. It looks relatively new, yet worn for its age. I guess not. Does Lily play? The absence of Hanako's answer caused me to think about my question. A bit. This is the first time I've played against someone other than her. Or... She cuts herself off abruptly, leaving the answer hanging in the air. Someone she knew before coming to Yamaku, maybe. Well then, I'm honored to have played against you. Can we play again? She asked if we're going to... As if she was... asked me to cut off my own hands. The spirit of competition's gotten into her. Sure. Don't expect me to go easy on you this time. Now that I was... Not that I was before, mind. She seems to appreciate the competitive tone. Wait, did she... Her king, yeah. We're the one who won. Okay. Same here. As we were setting up the pieces, there's a noise at the door. Good afternoon. Lily. Oh. Hey there, Lily. Are you finished? You're both here? Wonderful. At any rate, our teacher managed to round up some extra help, so I was able to leave. Have you been here since you left? Pretty much. We've been playing a bit of chess. Would you like a cup of tea? Actually, I think it made a good idea to go outside for a little while. The instant drop in Hanako's face shows her objection to this plan, even though she says nothing. I feel strangely compelled to voice what is plainly in view on her face, but Lily can't see. I think we should just stay here. Really? It's so crowded here that I was thinking we should leave the school and head for the local tea house. Shanghai? Of course, with everyone at the festival, it would be practically empty. Tea house? Oh, that's right, you probably don't know of it. There's a tea house not far from here, which we go every so often. Sounds like a plan. Hanako, what do you think? Hanako jumps a little at being forced into conversation, but at least she seems a little less distraught than before. If it's Shanghai, I think it'll be nice. Well, then it's settled. Let's be on our way. Hanako and I raise from the table in our preempted chess game. Before I can say anything, Hanako has poured the pieces on a small container and placed the board away. Looks like we're ready now. Lead on! Hanako moves to Lily's side and we venture into the school's corridors. The pair leads me through a series of unfamiliar doors and we emerge on the side of the building opposite of the festival grounds. Insulated by the heavy stone of the building, the noise in the crowd has faded to a murmur. Strange. Thought that most people would be leaving by now. They're probably here to view the fireworks. Fireworks? Do you like the fireworks, Lily? Apparently, this school puts on quite a show. A lot of people come from town just to watch them. Do you like watching the fireworks, Lily? Lily's decision to leave the school grounds seems to make sense now. Hanako would probably have a hard time with the whole town descending onto the school, or ascending, as the case may be. For the second time since arriving at Yamaku, I find myself walking down this road with Lily. Only now I can barely hear the incessant noise of the festival do I realize how loud it was. I can hear my ears ringing slightly in the still evening air as they recover from the day's assault. Hanako clings to Lily, but she manages to guide her along the road. That, and avoiding the occasional gaze from curious pedestrians, appear to completely sap her constitution. She rarely raises her focus from the ground in front of her, nor does she utter a word. Lily, on the other hand, maintains her prim and proper persona, just as she does in school. It's obvious she purposely puts efforts into her appearance, rather than hiding as Hanako does. It's striking how different they are in their way of holding themselves outside of Yamaku's grounds. That said, it's obvious in both their cases they do visibly change. Dr. Josh, Hanako's your waifu? We went through Emi, and I really enjoyed Emi's route. Inside Yamaku, everyone is special, which negates the specialness of it. But once we venture outside the school gates, we are returned to the status of outsider and generic labels. Especially as we are still in school uniform, it's like hanging a sign around your neck, challenging people to figure out what's wrong with you. I'm surprised that so many of the students keep it on. Then again, with canes and wheelchairs common among the students, I guess it's not really that much of a giveaway. Or maybe I'm the only one that sees this as a stigma? Maybe you get used to it after a time, like any other school uniform. The tea house seems fairly standard from the outside, just an ordinary building with typical signs decorating the entrance. It looks like the type of place you'd walk by without a thought, just another generic cafe in a sea of thousands. If Hanako hadn't steered Lily into the entrance, I would have continued down the road without ever knowing it existed. Inside a tea house, it takes on a more traditional feel. Everything seems to have been made from the same lump of timber, from the counter and the benches to high-backed booths around the walls. But the most striking feature in the room is the lack of life. I think I can faintly hear someone bubbling away in the background, but otherwise the room is silent. Without any direction, we simply wait near the entrance, politely obeying the "Please wait to be seated" sign. Is the place closed or something? Ah! The sound of a chair falling over echoes throughout the empty room, and a head shoots up from behind a booth. Tinder, same thing, right? I wasn't asleep. Welcome to Shanghai. Yuko, dressed in a pastel apron and clutching a menu, rushes to greet us. Her misaligned glasses and ruffled hair cast suspicion on her previous statement. But whether she was asleep or not isn't the first question that leaps to my mind. You work here now? What happened to the library? What? Lily? Hisao? Oh, now you remember me? Welcome to the Shanghai. Did her glasses fall off? Yeah. Yuko, still waking up, jerks to a violent bow, dislodging her glasses in the process. My glasses. As I pick up her spectacles off the floor, Lily offers an explanation. Yuko works here part-time as a library. It's just one of the reasons we like to come here. Yuko takes her glasses from my hands, shakily putting them back on. Yes, that's right. Thanks. Shall I show you to your table? We haven't made a single decision so far, so it's not like we can't even get on a bad route. There's no one else here, so you can choose your table and order whatever you like. There may be a delay as I have to make it myself. That's alright, Yuko. Just a pot of black tea and a plate of sandwiches. Sammy's! Alright, I'll get right on it. Yuko hurries off to the back of the cafe, leaving us still standing at the entrance. She pushes the swinging half doors open before realizing she hasn't seated us. I'm sorry. Please sit wherever you like. I'll be right back. Following her advice, I lead Lily to the nearest booth as Hanako follows. As I begin to sit next to Lily, I realize how appropriate this place is for Hanako. The high-backed booths totally separate you from the rest of the room, and it doesn't look like it gets all that many customers. Of all the furnishings, from the curtains on the benches to the condiments on the holders, look dated, but aren't overly worn. I wonder if Lily deliberately selects places like this to take Hanako. She seems like the type that would go to lengths to cater to Hanako's unique predicament. So, Hisao, I didn't know you played chess. Well, not very well. I do know how to play. I suppose the obvious question would be, who won? Lily's innocent smile makes me hesitate. I don't really want to look like I'm lording my victory over Hanako. Hisao did. Yeah, but not by much. Damn, saying that out loud makes me feel like I've done something terrible. Well done, Hisao. You've accomplished something I have only ever failed at. Thanks, I haven't played in ages. It felt good to play again. It did. Hanako fidgets with her hair a little and looks away as she replies, but a small smile emerges. There's a little more extreme a reaction than I expected, but still kind of cute in that Hanako way. It throws me a little off guard, and only Yuko's cataclysmic re-entry shocks me back into the conversation. Are you alright there, Yuko? You need a hand? I'm fine, I'm fine, I'm fine. I just have to do this properly. It's my job. Concentration plays across her face as she stares at the tray in her hands, as if simply looking at its contents will hold them in place. Sadly, this does not prove all that effective. The cups and saucers slowly dance around, occasionally clattering as they collide with one another. Taking great care, Yuko sets the tray down on the table with only the subtlest of crashes. There, see? Well done. Thank you, Yuko. Yuko's head rockets downwards in her distinctive bow before answering. You're very welcome. Would you like to join us? There's something else I'd like to discuss about that recent order, if I may. That's right, Lily and Yuko were discussing a pile of books when we first met. Something about Lily helping with the braille? Yes, we didn't get the chance to go through them, did we? Yuko hastily sits down next to Hanako. Apparently her dedication to this job only goes as far as her concentration. Once it's broken, she suddenly loses it. I'll be in the library tomorrow afternoon if you'd like to try again. That sounds perfect. I'll meet you there after classes. Lily? Oh dear, that's tomorrow. Tomorrow's Monday. How could I have forgotten? I was starting to feel a little left out of the loop here. Then again, that's to be expected. I've only been here for like a week. It's impossible to know everyone's schedule. Well, perhaps we can come to some other arrangement. Yuko, will you be in the library later this week? Maybe. This is already overdue. And there are some things I need. This might be a problem. Lily ponders for a second before discovering the answer. I wonder, I might enlist the help of another. Maybe someone else here who can help you. Do what? You lost me. Being volunteer for something without even having the slightest idea of what's going on isn't really my thing. I'm fine with it. Here I thought I'd finally escape the clutches of the student council and their repeated attempts to recruit me. Of course, I keep right-clicking. The other day I was helping Yuko sort the new Braille books in the library. But Hanako and I usually go shopping on Monday afternoons. Fridays and Mondays? Jesus, how often do you guys go shopping? Last week we couldn't go because I was busy with the festival. I managed to slip away later in the week, but Hanako couldn't make it. Well, since I can't read Braille, I'm assuming you'd like me to go shopping with Hanako. Oh, okay, so they normally go on Mondays, but she went on Friday because she couldn't go on Monday. Correct. You were a great help to me the other day. Well, I think I can handle that. Hanako, what do you think? Shall we go on a date? Of course not. I'm still not familiar with all the stores in the area, so it sounds like a good idea. Okay. Now that we have that arranged, shall we have some tea? It's now that I realize our tea has been sitting idly but all this time, getting no hotter. It's my fault. Let me pour that for you. Yuko reaches out with shaking hands by interceptor. She looks in no state to be handling hot liquids. It's alright, I got it. Since you already made the tea and sandwiches, you've fulfilled your waitress duties. I guess. Yuko relaxes a little, but still watches eagerly as I share out the assortment. Ah! Oh. As I am about to bite into the sandwiches, a low, loud rumble can be heard along with a flash of light from outside. Ah, I take it the show has started. Only now, looking outside, I realize that dusk has come and gone, leaving us in the peak of twilight. Sparkling tracers arc upwards as they are being destroyed by Doomfists. Let's go watch. Oh, sorry, Lily. Please don't miss the show on my account. From what I've heard, this isn't a bad location to watch them from. With the exception of Lily, we rush to the window with a small tea house to watch a show. It's pretty cute. The strobe of color lights play as Hanako and Yuko's smiling faces, and for a second I forgot to look out the window. This is a totally new world. There are few things that don't change. I think that's why the school makes such a fuss over this festival. It's a chance to show the similarities between everyone. The show is over too quickly. Fireworks are expensive even for the most well-funded schools. Before we return our tea and sandwiches, Hanako turns to me. Thanks for today. And tomorrow. That's okay, I don't think that I could have faced those crowds either. On days like this, it's more relaxing to spend some time away from everyone, don't you think? Yeah. Anyways, we've been delaying this tea for far too long now. Let's get back. Sure. We return to the booths and our light meal. That sounded impressive. Bigger than last year's. That's what she said. Yeah, it was great. I never seen him put on such a show. It gets better every year. I'm afraid, however, that during that time the tea has gone cold. Ah, let me make some more. This is my fault. Calm down, Yuko. It's nobody's fault. I take a sip from my cup just to prove the point. This tea isn't too bad cool anyway. It's like an iced tea. Really? Yes, really. If you add a bit of sugar, it's quite nice. Are you sure? I'm positive. Now, why don't you sit down and we'll finish this together? Okay. Yuko doesn't seem convinced, but sits down regardless. She carefully measures out the 5 teaspoons of sugar and adds them to her tea. I said a bit of sugar. I know, but I like my tea sweet anyways. Curiously, I peer into her cup. As expected, hardly any of the sugar dissolves into cool liquid. She stirs it twice before upturning the cup and drinking the contents, sugar and all. You're right. That's not bad at all. Good. I look back to Lily and Hanako, both of whom have finished their meal as I witness Yuko's personality in action. Not wanting to hold anyone up, I use her tactic and finish the remainder of my tea in a single swill. Well then, it seems we're all finished. Should we head back now, or do we want seconds? Yuko's expression shows that she's quite clearly not a good idea. I think we should get back soon. We do have to get back before curfew, after all. Oh, that's a good point. I'll meet you tomorrow, Yuko. I'll be looking forward to it, Lily. Goodbye. We make our way out of a small tea house and into the dark of the night. Yes, Hanako has 2 eyes. One of them's just horribly scarred. Lily and Hanako once again take point, but under the cover of darkness, Hanako seems slightly less stressed than she did on the trip here. We move against the occasional group of people emptying the school grounds, but Hanako seems to lead us among a few minor roads, avoiding the bulk of the crowd. Outside the dorms, the school seems strangely quiet when compared to the noise of the day. Well then, thank you both for today. I think I learned a lot. You're most welcome, but I'm afraid I really must be going. Today's been a long day. That's right. Lily spent all her day on her feet, and I can't imagine walking outside of school can be pretty tiring for her. I feel a pang of guilt as I remember that I was probably the only one in the school who got up around 10 this morning. Sure thing. Well, I see you both tomorrow. Good night. 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 The girls returned to their dorm and I to mine. Actually, now I consider it, today tired me out as well. Yeah, Hanako route confirmed. Oh. This is like an erased opening. Oh, look at the production value. Oh, we have a hoagie. What book is that even? Dude, this got so much more work than the Emmy route. What? Oh, and a kiss on the forehead. This got so much more than the Emmy route did. Hide and seek, peekaboo. That guy. Oh man, I got fucking gypped on the Emmy route, dude. My alarm blares into my ears, only to be swiftly silenced by my fist. My doom fist. My body switches into auto mode, carrying my subconscious self out of bed and into my uniform. As always, my balls of pills sit on my desk, patiently waiting for me to take them and pick out my daily dosages of medicine, 7 pills a day. Before I know it, I'm opening the door to Class 33, glad to see I'm not the only one who seems to be a little hungover from the festival week. Emmy also got a cutscene, but that was maybe only like 10 seconds long. Every face in the classroom looks gaunt. With the festival over now, it's as if everyone's life dreams have been achieved. With nothing left to live for, the students have relied on instinct alone to guide them to class. Or maybe I'm just reading too much into it. It's a good burp. I slowly make my way to my seat, and it's only then I realize why the room is so peaceful. The seat beside me are blissfully empty. The world's loudest interpreter for the deaf has yet to arrive. Wow. Just as I'm about to sit down, the door flies open, revealing a resplendent Misha. Drills bobbing with a dramatic entrance, and arms stretched towards the sky. Yahoo! It's all over. It would appear that not everyone is affected by a post-festival depression. The rest of the class glare at her, obviously thinking the same thing I am. They're all hungover from the drinking they did. Misha, still frozen in the doorway, with her arms still in the air, nervously looks around. It's obvious she senses the foul mood, but can't work out exactly what to do. Suddenly, she jerks forward. Hey! As she stumbles into the classroom, she feels Shizune, arms still extended from where she shoved Misha. Thanks for the entertainment, but shouldn't you two take your seats? Still slightly embarrassed, Misha takes a second to realize she has to translate. Best girl is clearly Emmy. Emmy, best the girl. Yeah, Shi-chan said she's not happy with you ditching us last week. We were really busy. Is that so? What about the stuff I already did for you two? Oh, like, I'm not saying Emmy's route was bad. I'm just saying that, like, Hanako's opening that was, like, Hanako got, like, 3, 4, 5 scenes, whereas Emmy's was, like, 2, 3 scenes. It's not like a bad opening. It's just that Hanako got, like, a way longer one. She says that only counts for council members. Since you declined, she doesn't owe you anything. What's a giggling for? Who's giggling here? You looking at Facebook? You're laughing at cat videos, honey. I don't like cats anymore. They threw up in our room.
I cleaned it up for you.
Misha leans closer and whispers conspiratorially in my ear. Actually, I think she's just a little sore that you didn't spend a day with her. She's really thankful for your work last week, though. Sensing that she's being talked about, Shizune lightly wraps her fingers on her desk until Misha turns around to face her. I can't understand any of their fast-paced citing what's going on, but from Shizune's slightly embarrassed expression and Misha's poorly contained laughter, I can guess. While this exchange is happening, the door opens once again, but this time at a much more reasonable pace. Hanako quietly enters the room, pulls the door closed behind her. Peering out from under her hair, she quickly scans the classroom. When our eyes met, she suddenly stiffens. She closes her eyes, takes a deep breath, and walks over to my desk. Good morning, Hisao. Morning, Hanako. You're a little late, aren't you? I was talking to Lily about today. Ah, so you've gotten her list then. We can leave straight after classes in that case. Sure. I think we've already established that Misha is not dateable. But I assume that Misha and Shizune give you a 2-for-1 deal where while you're banging Shizune, Misha does all the moaning for her. I am looking forward to it. Hanako briefly flashes her embarrassed smile at me, then hurries off to her seat. During classes, it becomes apparent that it's not only the students that are a little despondent after the festival. Muto simply gives us a list of exercises and textbooks and sits behind his desk. I totally forgot about the brief lunch period for a moment. Such is the banality of the day. It's mind-numbing and everyone seems surprised when the bell signals at the end of the lesson. As I'm packing my bags, Shizune and Misha flank and entrap me. Hey, still not too late to join up. There's a lot of post-festival paperwork for us to complete. Sorry, I've got plans. As if sensing the cue, Hanako appears behind me holding a small bag and trying to avoid eye contact with the outside world. Misha's eyes open wide and she bursts into laughter. Blah, you move fast, don't you, Hichan? We won't disturb your date any further. Behind the roaring Misha, I see Shizune taking far too little interest in the scene. I might be taking this the wrong way, but I think she's deliberately ignoring me. I feel a gentle tug on my shirt and turn to see Hanako's eyes fixed firmly on the floor. Let's. Gotcha, Shizune, Misha, I'll see you later. And I'm still not interested in student council. Spoil sport. Misha and Shizune retreat into the hallway, happily signing to each other. Got all your stuff, let's head off. Floods of students pour out of the school gates and onto the road into town. It's a little weird, it's almost a scene from any other high school, but the illusion fades because of the occasional wheelchair or missing limb. One thing I do notice is that nobody's alone. And as Hanako and I pass through the gates, I notice she closes the distance between us. Not enough to be considered close, but she certainly isn't her usual, just a little far position. I guess we're not familiar enough for her to get as close as she does with Lily. However, even though she has moved a little closer to me physically, mentally she seems to have traveled a mile. Her hands clutched against her leather straps of her bags to the point of whitening her knuckles, her head down and her mouth pursed closed. She almost looks like she's being walked to the principal's office for the first time. I tried to stifle a giggle at the thought, but it's futile. What's the matter? Guess there's no point in hiding it. Sorry, for a second there you look like you were getting in trouble. What do you mean? I think you need to relax a little. We're not going too far. It's only students around, right? Right. It bothers me a little to see Hanako so worked up. And you do this every week, don't you? Yes, with Lily. Well, of course, with Lily, I wonder, has she ever left the school without her? It doesn't seem much at first glance, but Hanako's dependence on Lily is absurdly heavy. If she can't even handle leaving the school without her, how can she have managed to survive if the two have never met? Would she have found someone else to latch onto? And what drew her to Lily? Probably her lack of eyesight. It was Lily just kind enough to lend a hand. I wonder if anyone would have fit the bill. Well, I'm here. Besides, we're not going far. It's be over before you know it. Hanako's knuckles slowly regain their color as she tries to hide a small smile, but the effort of that seems to prevent further conversation. We travel side by side down the winding road towards the town. The crowd of students thins as we continue along the sidewalk. Faster students rush ahead and less mobile ones fall behind, rarefying the crowd into nothingness. By the time we reach the convenience store, we are practically alone. Using me as a shield between herself and the attendant, Hanako moves through the narrow aisles, adding an assortment of items to her basket. Bread, milk, tea. Time? We're running out of time! What kind of convenience store sells herbs? Then again, nothing about this town seems normal, which may not be such a bad thing in retrospect. Everything is so different and uncomfortable, dwelling on such matters isn't really an option. When I think about it, it reminds me of Hanako. No matter how much you try, you can't escape her scars. They still interrupt my train of thought when I see them. As much as I don't want to admit it to myself, I think I'm forcing myself to try to ignore them. Dr. Josh's friend's going down Shizune and keeps asking about Misha. Why hasn't he, finished it yet? Not that I am scar-free myself, the jagged line down my sternum will never completely fade away. Ah, we're gonna be scar buddies. I see. I just have the luxury of being able to hide it easily. But in a way, both of our scars remind me that we're all in this place for a reason. We're all in this together. Hanako throws one last item onto her basket and sheepishly holds it out to me, along with a few blank notes. Could you please? It takes me a second to understand what she's trying to say. You want me to pay for this? She nods but doesn't look up. I guess this task falls onto Lily on the usual occasions. Let me grab a couple things. Hastily, I grab a few essential items for myself and head to the counter with Hanako in close tow. The attendant gives me an indifferent nod as he scans in the items. I suppose just ignoring us is one way to deal with the anomalies of Yamaku. They must get a lot of students here, being the closest store to the school. The staff must all have their own way of dealing with us, or maybe they don't. Maybe it's only me who thinks twice about my unique schoolmates. Our transaction complete, Hanako and I head back out into the street. The road is pretty much abandoned now. The students that were headed out have already left and no one has started returning just yet. With only the school ahead of the road, there doesn't seem to be anyone else around. The emptiness certainly reflects on Hanako, her arms by her sides, each carrying a bag, her head no longer bowed and back into the upright position. Man, you guys really want me to get on that bad ending. It's almost as if she was enjoying this walk. Why all these weird things? Mixed spice? Why would you need that in school? Sometimes I like to make food. Yeah, but spices? Hisao, do you not know what spices are used for in cooking? That's a little more advanced, don't you think? No, it's just cooking, bro. Not really. Well, I think it's cool. You have to teach me one day. Sure. She doesn't seem all that sure, but pushing the point doesn't seem all that wise. Well, maybe we're talking about Josh's friend. At the very least, she seems a great deal happier than when she did on the way here. That alone makes me a little happier. Outside the girls' dorm, Hanako and I sort out the grocery bags with our respective purchases. In comparison, my things look positively plain. I tell you, you're putting me to shame here. I'm only joking. I have a stack of homework I skipped last week, so I must leave now. Will you be alright getting back to your dorm? Yes. Sure. Okay, see you tomorrow. Bye. We part ways and I return to my room. Piles of papers sit upon my desk, begging to be completed. With the entire ruckus of the last week, I barely had any time to catch up. I tried to keep up with my studies while I was in the hospital, but some of this stuff I've never seen before, even back in my old school. Totally unprepared, I pop the top on a can of drink and get to work. Not sponsored by any company. You don't wish Hanako's bad ending on anyone? Or maybe I can get it accidentally. No problems. He liked the neutral or bad ending better? Huh, interesting. The days are really starting to heat up. This morning I awoke covered in sweat. Hot. By the time the student body starts leaving their dorms for breakfast and morning duties, the sun has taken full effect. Oddly, this puts me in high spirits. It's not even 8 yet. I feel that this day is going to be one of those pleasant, tranquil, warm ones. If I weren't at this school that considered every absence from class a sign of life-threatening situation, I consider skipping the whole day and just relaxing in the school gardens. Yes, today will be a genuinely lazy day. For a second, I stop in mid-stretch and consider a nurse's warning about exercise. Maybe I should have kept up with those morning jogs. It depends on who you want to end up with. Running with someone like Emmy might have been a little testing, but if I worked at my own pace, who am I kidding? I couldn't stick with something like that without some kind of motivation. It's not like I sit around all day. To walk to and from the convenience store counts as exercise, right? Especially to walk back up the hill. Yeah, it's no big deal. Compared to months laying in hospital bed, I'm getting plenty of exercise. It seems that I'm not alone in my appreciation of the day. Nearly every member of this class is glancing through the window and into the tantalizing sky. Even the steadfast Shizune seems to lack her usual vigor for schoolwork. Misha, as brazen as ever, has even unbuttoned the top buttons of her shirt. Ooh! And is fanning herself with a notebook. I must have been staring as she's now sticking her tongue out at me. Nice. However, she shows no signs of halting her efforts, nor is she trying to hide the fact. The lunch bell seems to catch. Oh, we don't get that drawing. Dang. The lunch bell seems to catch everyone by surprise, and the class empties at a much slower pace than usual. The heat seems to be draining the need to rush from everyone. Well, almost everyone. Hisao? Hey there, Hanako. What can I do for you today? Hanako already has a lunch bag in her hand. I don't have to be a detective to work out where this is going. Would you like to have lunch with us again? I brought enough for everyone. Awesome! You don't have to be so stiff about it, though. Ah, right. I'm the only stiff one here, if you know what I mean, Hanako. Wink, wink. And take it we're going to the tea room? Please. Lily said she'll meet us there, so we should go ahead together. Sounds like a plan. This heat has made me pretty hungry. Hanako breathes a sigh of relief, and I gather my things together. As usual, the aura of the tea room is refreshing, feeling isolated from the rest of the world. Then again, the usual din of the school seems to be a bit subdued, most likely from the laziness prompted by heat exhaustion. Hanako slowly spreads her food on the table, intently focusing on every little movement, as if she's trying to keep her mind off her other thoughts. It's not much, but I can tell from her demeanor that she has prepared everything with utmost care. Lelouch pose. Man, Lelouch is one of those names that if I had not heard other people pronounce it, I would never know how to frickin' say that name. I guess Lily isn't here yet. Should we start without her? She'll be here soon. Hanako struggles with the lid of the container of rice. Here, let me help you with that. I take the container from Hanako's hands and try to force open the lid. Try as I might, it seems wedged shut. Let me guess, did you put this in while the rice was still hot? Yeah, I was in a rush. I put the container on the table between us. I thought so. Looks like this is wedged shut. We need to get some hot water to get it open. But that could be a pain in here. We get water everywhere. How about I contribute to today's meal? At the door, Lily smiles while holding up a bag stocked with various buns and bread rolls. I can't help but do the same. Since you two... Oh, smiles. I can't help but smile also. Since you two had a change of plans because of me, I thought I'd bring a little something. Thanks, Lily. Here, let me help you get that. With a little guidance, Lily's bread assortment joins Hanako's riceless platter. I hastily make some tea and complete the picture. Well, I'm looking forward to this. As I take a bite, I notice Hanako's trying her hardest to not look like she's looking at me. It's nothing special, but then again, I can't really complain. I'm pretty lazy when it comes to cooking for myself. Not bad. I guess it's made with the stuff you bought yesterday? Yes. Hanako's eyes shot at me, begging for some kind of feedback. Well, it's clearly worth it. Thanks, Hanako. I wanted to show you this after yesterday. It's okay. I was just a little surprised at the stuff you were buying. His sound might be looking forward to this, but Lily isn't. Hanako's always liked to experiment when it comes to food. Does she like to experiment when it comes to girls? I think it's good, most of the time. Well, Lily's smile doesn't waver. A slight change in her tone tells me that things have not gone so well in the past. And it's not like Hanako has made people to sample her cooking. Hang on. Was Lily waiting for me to go first? She didn't start eating until after I said it was alright. Her cheeky grin tells me this was a deliberate action on her part. I'll have to try and work out how to get one over on her in the future to make up for this. It's good. That's all that counts, right? Right. Lily, satisfied at not being the first to sample Hanako's creation, begins to consume the food in front of her. I find myself staring as I watch her chopsticks gently touch the plate, their tips delicately poking and tracing it to quickly ascertain the portions of the food as she dexterously picks it up. One might think she were a child playing with her food if not for the situation, though she does it with such care and thoughtlessness that it's obvious is simply how she eats this kind of meal. Not wanting to miss out, I start filling up myself. Hanako takes a different approach, waiting until Lily and I have our hands clear before quickly snatching up her share. Before long, the containers are empty save for the still shut rice container. What a disappointing rice container. Thank you, Hanako, that was filling. No, thank you for the bread. Yes, it would have been a disaster if not for that. You're both welcome. But now I must be getting back. It's far too easy to be late after eating here. Yeah, I see what you mean. I think we'll just clean up here and head off. Goodbye. Lily leaves, her cane tapping away down the quiet hallway. Hanako and I quickly pack our things and stay seated, waiting for the bell. Together, we stare out the window and into the endless azure sky. If it weren't for the pealing of the bells, I would have sworn that time had stopped. The urge to skip class rises in my gut. I shoot a glance at Hanako, who shows no signs of moving either. Not just yet. The interval between the warning bells and end of lunch bells passes in a blink of an eye. We really should go. People will freak out and start a search party if we skip. Hanako sighs. You're right. Slowly she rises to her feet and I follow suit. Silently we make our way up the old stairs to the 3rd floor, then to our classroom. At the door I take point and open the door ahead of Hanako, bowing my head down in apology in advance. Sorry we're late, sensei. I am greeted not by stern words nor by an angered instruction to take my seat, but simply by the silence created by 15 or so students trying not to laugh. Muto, ever Charlie, has yet to arrive. However, the fact that Hanako and I have arrived together is blatantly obvious. Make that about 14 students trying and 1 student failing at stifling their laughter. The lovers return! Wow! You know what I need?
No, oh yeah.
That's what I need. That's what I need. I step through the door and realize that Hanako is firmly pressed against my back. Nice. With my steps coming closer to my desk, she eventually breaks from me and stiffly walks to her own. Her efforts to mentally block everyone's presence from her mind are written clearly on her face. Quickly checking the door for any signs of the teacher's arrival, I make a trip to Hanako's desk and whisper in her ear, "Don't worry about Misha, she's always like this. I enjoyed myself today. Don't sweat it, okay?" Hanako nods her head behind her folded arms, but doesn't show her face. Still doesn't show her face. I yearn to stay and console her more, but Mutuo picks this exact moment to enter the class, halfway through his lecture, as if he started in the hallway. Which, of course, is directly proportional to the charge, but inversely proportionally to the square of the distance. He's so engrossed in his speech, he doesn't even notice me sneaking back into my seat from Hanako's desk. While Mutuo's spiel rambles on, Misha leans over to me. "The teacher may not have noticed your tardiness, but I did, which is obvious from the show you just put on. I have been instructed to let you off the hook for today, but only on one occasion." "Oh, what will that be?" "Oh, one condition. You have to help us this afternoon." I crane my neck to look over Misha's shoulder. Shizune is conveniently not making eye contact with me, just for today. I've already told you I'm not joining the student council. Of course, doing so would be considered, She looks down at her notebook, obviously looking for her place in her script. "Under duress and hence would be against regulations. How very strange of you to be considerate of the regulations now. Things should be done by the book. You gotta do the cooking by the book." It's just that the book hasn't been written for every situation, so there are times when it can be ignored. And yet, you two wonder why no one else wants to be in the student council. After poking her tongue out at me, Micha returns to her workbook and we battle our way through the latter half of the school day. Before I can even stand up, Misha and Shizune have placed their hands on both of my shoulders. "Hey! It's just insurance, Hisao. Insurance." "Hisao?" Hanako timidly tries to leave the room by circling around us, and I suddenly realize that this may be my one chance to escape. "What's up, Hanako?" "What makes you think you can have time to chat?" "Oh, relax, this won't take long. Sorry, Hanako, you were saying?" "I was going to the library and I thought..." Hanako's thumbs dance around each other and her eyes flit around the room, looking everywhere but at us. "Sorry, Hanako, but Hisao has to come with us. He's got work to do." "Oh, but you can help too if you like." Okay, so our options are... What do you think, Hanako? And I've done enough work for the council already. I think that's me trying to get out of council work and hang out with Hanako instead. "Hey, Shizune, I know I said I'd help, but I forgot I'd already made plans. Besides, I helped out more than my fair share last week, didn't I? I promise I'll make it up to you sometime in the future." Shizune and Misha release their grip on me and have a long, deep, and silent conversation. "Well, you have a point there. To be honest, we were only going to spend the rest of the budget on cakes." So if you're not there, it works out better. More cake for us. Shizune about faces and marches out the door, and Misha skips out after her. Well, that was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Last week, those two were like bloodhounds or prison guards. Or maybe prison guards bred from bloodhounds. I can't believe I just thought about that. Let alone saying it out loud. I think I need to move away from Kenji. Yeah. Sure. Hanako follows me through the still crowded halls into the library, using me as a shield. As soon as we're through the door, Hanako bolts to the counter where Yuko is stacking books. Before I can catch up, Hanako has whispered something in her ear. You find that non-fiction, but I don't know exactly where. If you want, I can look it up. Never mind. Hey Yuko, what's this all about? Hanako's just looking for a book on relationships. On boys. Boys? Boys. A book on nothing in the non-fiction section? I shoot a glance at Yuko. She looks like she's about to burst from the pressure of keeping Hanako's request a secret. Yuko, what did... Chess! She's looking for a chess book. I take a mental note to never entrust Yuko with any important information. Yuko. I'm sorry, Hanako, it just slipped out. Boys, boys, boys. Well, it's not a secret anymore. Come on, I'll give you a hand. I should really brush up my skills too. Okay. Yuko disappears behind a counter in shame as Hanako and I wander into the depths of the non-fiction section. I know there's supposed to be a system for categorizing these books, the Dewey Decimal System. I don't see how anyone can decipher it without spending half of their lives researching it. That's probably why all the librarians I know are neurotic. Or at least they're not necrotic. That would be even weirder. I like my laugh track. It's really cute. Towards the end of the aisle, between a book on card tricks and some book on kids' games, stands a single book bearing the title Chess Tactics for Champions. There's another book titled Chess Tactics for Dummies. That one's more my speed. Before I can reach for it, Hanako has a book in her hands, clutching it to her chest. So I grab her chest instead. Well, I guess it's yours then. Mind if I borrow it when you're finished? Sure, I just hadn't really played it against anyone but Lily before, so I thought, damn. It's not like I was trying to beat Hanako deliberately or anything, but she seems to have taken it to heart. Then again, at least this means she wants to play me again. And I want to play with her, if you know what I mean. Well, it's not like I'm a master or anything, I've just played it a bit before. It occurs to me I haven't told Hanako about my condition. I falter for a second, deciding to cover my tracks. What does that have anything to do with our condition? What does that have anything to do with our heart condition? Oh, before I came here. Well, I guess the next sentence answers that. Are you alright? Yeah, I was just remembering something. When I think about it, I shouldn't be afraid to tell Hanako about my condition and my time at the hospital, judging by her scars. She'd probably spend a fair amount of time in the hospital bed. But for some reason, I can't bring it up. At least not today, and not on such short notice. Eager to break off the conversation, I grab a random book from the shelf. It's some book on the world's fastest roller coasters. Published in 1982. Not very up to date, but at least should be interesting. Is that what you find interesting? We both got books now. Shall we sit down? Hanako seems to accept my bluff. We head to the reading nook in the back of the library. Neither of us says a word. We simply open our books and start reading. I tried to read my book, but it would seem that 1982 roller coasters weren't nearly as large as the ones built in the decades since. Most of the ones listed are made of wood. Something about that doesn't seem safe to me. If I'm going to ride on something potentially dangerous, I want it to be made out of steel, some kind of space-age alloy that have big words like titanium and ruthenium. I quickly lose interest. My eyes wander across the reading area to rest on Hanako. Hanako seems to be absorbed in her book, flicking back and forth between the pages as if confirming what she just read. I wonder if that's actually effective or if she's just overloading herself. She unconsciously brushes her hair from her face, temporarily revealing her scar tissue. I'm not sure about the protocol here. Is it right to ask her about her scars or her past? How long has she been in the hospital? Does she still visit the doctor? All these seem like the questions you'd ask someone who just transferred to their school, translated into the local language. But to date, no one has directly asked me any of them. Well, except for Rin, but I don't think I should use her as a guide for proper social behavior. For the time being, I'll just keep my mouth shut. If someone wants you to know something, then they'll tell you. Trying to force the issue might drive Hanako back into herself. Like I want to force myself into her. It's okay, Janice. I don't know what else to say. Sorry to interrupt, but I have to close the library now. Already?
Okay.
Yeah, it's only forced, Janice. Fight down, I'm going in dry.
No.
I checked my watch. Somehow I was lost in thought. Nearly 2 hours have passed. Do you want to check out those books? I can do it on the way out. Please. I'm done. I'll drop this one back on the way through. It wasn't as interesting as I first thought. Hanako marks her place on a slip of paper and stands up. The girls head to the counter and I return my book to what I think is the right shelf. Yuko scans Hanako's book with practiced precision, yet still manages to fumble it. Oh, there you go. Third time's lucky. Since this is a non-fiction book, you can only have it for a week. Can you have fiction books for longer than non-fiction books? Because I imagine it'd be the other way around. That's okay. Yuko shuts down the library's computer and herds us out the door. I didn't think it was this late already. But you're the one who told us you had to close. Yeah, but... I know, but that was before I looked at the time. I'll see you later. I mean, like, so in my mind, if you're reading a fiction book, then you just read it once and you'd be done with it. Whereas if you're reading a non-fiction book, that'd be something you use for like references and stuff. So a non-fiction book,
Other people have to use it for reference too, so you can't hold it.
I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I just watched the movie instead. Chess, the movie. Yuka bolts down the hallway, her handbag trailing behind her like an awkward streamer. Ah, does she stream on Twitch or Mixer? I guess all librarians really are neurotic. Huh? Never mind. I was just thinking that I've never met a librarian that can organize their time no matter how good they are with their books. Oh, I know what you mean. Hanako smiles in amusement. It wasn't meant to be a joke, but I must have reminded her of some other librarian or something. Emmy, best to go. Best to go. Oh yeah. I have to get back. Yeah, me too. I didn't realize it was this late. Thanks for letting me hang out with you. No problem. I'm going to my dormitory room now. So do you mind if I tag along? Okay. Hanako sets off ahead of me and I need to jog a little to reach her side. We walk through the gardens, eventually arriving in front of the dorm buildings. Man, you walk pretty fast. I used to play in a soccer club and you managed to outpace me. I kind of regret saying that. It's less to do with her pace than the fact that my condition is significantly worse than my fitness. Hanako's reaction is odd. I expected an awkward attempt to downplay her walking speed, but she just blushes while looking at her feet and smiling. Silence hangs in the air between us. That happens often around Hanako, but feels slightly different than usual this time. After a few seconds, I try to break that silence. Here you go. See you in class tomorrow? Sure. Hanako waves a short goodbye before pushing her way through the dorm's doors. I stand and look at them for a while before making my way to my own dormitory room. Create save. Ladies and gentlemen and boys and girls. It is now 1 o'clock in the morning, and that means it's time for us to take a nap. An 8-hour nap.